Do you believe ghosts can only be seen through a camera? We thought so too, until we stepped into these places, a burned-out orphanage, an abandoned hospital, and a former mental institution that was never really abandoned. And that night, we realized we were no longer the hunters, we were the hunted. Here are the scary stories you never should have heard. We weren't amateur ghost hunters, but that night, Everglen Asylum made us want to quit for good. The moment we stepped onto the grounds, the first sound hit. Not wind, a whisper, right in the ear. Why did you come back? We entered the main hall. The wooden floor creaked, but we only took a few steps. There were more footsteps than there were of us. Riley looked up. You guys don't hear that breathing from the ceiling? There was no attic, but the breathing was rhythmic, like the building itself was alive. Our EMF sensors went crazy. Every direction, lit up red. Jamie snapped a photo, but it came out distorted with a tall shadow behind us. The hallway toward the isolation wing turned freezing. Our breath was visible. Then, a metallic clinking sound like a spoon tapping steel. Riley shouted, "Someone's running behind us!" But there were no footsteps, only the sound of running in our ears. We opened a patient room. There was a rocking chair moving on its own. Then the door behind us slammed shut. Jamie's camera caught the sound of a woman crying from inside the wall, and something knocked from within the bricks. Thomas started talking to himself. He claimed he saw children sitting in the corner. They just want to play, man. Don't yell at them. But we saw no one. Then he began sobbing, like a little boy. We saw nothing, but the photo didn't lie. Riley wore headphones to capture EVPs. Suddenly, he screamed and ripped them off. Blood trickled from his ear. He said, "They got in my head. Too many voices." We tried going up to the second floor, but the stairs were wrong. After 15 steps, we were still on the first floor. From above, a whisper called, "Hurry! They're coming from below." And we heard nails scratching the steps. We entered a room filled with old mirrors. None of them reflected us correctly. In one of them, Riley was standing still. But he was behind us, and the reflection smiled. All our lights went out. Footsteps surrounding us. Fast. Jamie's camera fell, capturing feet running with no bodies above them. Screams echoed through the walls, growing louder. Thomas scratched the wall while giggling. "We're not supposed to leave. He made me a promise." His eyes were empty. We had to tie him down with camera cables. Jamie's camera turned on by itself and started live streaming, despite having no signal. But live chat popped up. "We see you. He's behind you." We turned the camera, and a tall figure stood behind Jamie, then vanished in the flashlight's beam. We ran through the same hallway, over and over. It never ended. The walls turned black. We heard sobbing from the floorboards. A door opened into a blood-soaked operating room. Voices called our names, but in warped, mocking tones. Jamie suddenly forgot who he was. Who am I? Why am I here? The mirror showed his face, changing. It wasn't him anymore. Suddenly, the main hall doors swung open. We ran, dragging the still-laughing Thomas with us. Outside, time hadn't moved. It was still 10 p.m. We escaped, but when we checked the footage, we entered as 5, only 4 left. So, who was the 4th one? We arrived at Westmark Hospital just before midnight. A storm was rolling in. The place was shut down decades ago after a mysterious fire in the psych wing. We pushed open the rusted door. It groaned like it hadn't moved in years. Inside, darkness, and the smell of mold and burnt plastic. Our walkie-talkies started hissing the moment we crossed the main hallway. No signal, just bursts of static, followed by a voice. "Welcome back." No one else heard it. But I did. Clear as day. We entered the ER corridor. There was an old stretcher covered in a moldy white sheet. Suddenly, it rolled a few inches on its own. Jamie froze. "Please tell me that was you." It wasn't. The entrance door slammed shut behind us. Tried opening it again. Jammed. At that exact moment, the hospital lights flickered once. Just once. And in that split second, I saw someone standing at the end of the hallway. We found the basement stairs. The morgue was still intact. One drawer was slightly ajar. Then it slid open slowly by itself. Inside, empty. But the cold in the room intensified. Something whispered from the drawer, "It's still warm." Jamie went into the x-ray room to set up cameras. We called out, no response. When we entered, the room was empty. but the camera feed showed him still standing there, motionless. We blinked. The feed cut to black. We turned a corner and saw an old wheelchair facing a wall. A figure sat in it, head slumped forward. We approached carefully, but when we shined the light, there was nothing in the chair, only the sound of labored breathing inches behind us. Inside the pediatric wing, we passed a locked patient room. Then, scratch, scratch, scratch. Something was clawing from the inside of the walls. Riley leaned closer. A pale hand reached through a hole and grabbed his wrist. He screamed, and the hand pulled back instantly. We checked the camera memory card. New footage appeared that none of us recorded. It showed the three of us wandering the halls, but in the footage, we were being followed by Jamie. But Jamie was gone. We entered the ICU. Lights above us blinked one by one in sequence, leading us forward, then stopped, then turned off, in reverse. We were left in pitch black. Then the breathing returned. Louder, closer. Riley stood still. He whispered something in Latin. Then he began slamming his head into the wall. Blood streaked across the tiles. We tackled him down. His eyes were completely black. We heard screaming above us. Looked up. On the ceiling, a dark shape, crawling fast like a spider. It stopped right above us, and then dropped. But nothing hit the ground. We ran toward the nurse's station, looking for an exit, but every hallway led back to the same station, again and again, and each time we passed, the lights flickered out one by one behind us. We turned a corner. Jamie was there, pale, silent. He smiled, then pointed to the hallway behind him. We looked. Nothing. When we turned back, he was gone, and the wheelchair was now directly behind us. Finally, one emergency door creaked open. We bolted for it. As we exited, I looked back one last time. Every hallway inside was filled with shadows, standing still, watching. We were safe, but back at the van, the footage showed us leaving alone. Just me and Riley. Jamie never came out, and yet, he's the one holding the camera. The building stood at the edge of the forest, abandoned since the 1950s fire. Locals claim to still hear children's laughter at night. We entered with 2 cameras, thermal gear, and motion sensors. As we crossed the gate, my ears popped, like we stepped out of time. Inside, the air was unnaturally cold. In the nursery, a dusty mobile began spinning, slowly. Motion sensor beeped. Something moved past me, but there was no breeze, only the soft sound of humming. We found names scratched into a hallway wall. Ella, Sammy, Lucas, underneath. Still here. We filmed it, then turned off the camera. When we looked again, there were more names, including ours. In one room, porcelain dolls were lined up on a shelf. Riley stepped away to film another angle. When we looked back, the dolls had moved. Now they were facing us, and one was missing. We heard running above us, but the second floor had collapsed decades ago. A ball rolled down the hallway toward us. It stopped at my feet, and a tiny handprint appeared on it. We set the recorder down and left it rolling. When we played it back, there were dozens of whispers, overlapping, repeating one phrase, "Don't leave her alone." But we hadn't seen anyone. In the dining room mirror, I saw a girl standing behind me, braided hair, a torn dress. I turned, no one there. Looked back at the mirror. She was closer and smiling. We found a toy chest sealed with rusty chains. Riley opened it with a crowbar. Inside, old toys and a child's drawing of us. 3 figures standing in the orphanage, but behind them, a tall, black shadow. A faint voice sang a lullaby down the hall. We followed it. The door creaked open slowly. Inside, empty beds. Except one, sheets pulled back, like someone just got up. Riley began muttering under his breath. He said a girl named Ella told him she was scared. He walked into the dark alone. I tried to stop him. He hissed at me like an animal and vanished. The classroom was scorched, walls blackened. On the chalkboard, words written in fresh white chalk. "Teacher hurt us." Then the door slammed. From the shadows I heard a child's voice. "You're the teacher now." I ran, but every hallway led back to the same room. I saw shadows gathering in the corners, short, childlike. They began walking toward me, soundless, but the floor creaked beneath their steps. Riley reappeared in the nursery, but something was off. He stood, head tilted, eyes blank. He whispered, "They said I could stay, if you don't leave." He smiled, and the lights flickered. I found a filing cabinet still intact. Inside, records of children who died in the fire. Ella, Sammy, Lucas. Last file had my name, birth date correct, status admitted. Never discharged, I ran to the exit. The front door was bricked shut from the inside. Riley stood behind me, humming the lullaby. Children's laughter echoed from every wall. Lights exploded, then silence. Camera feed ends, but someone else is still recording. And the dolls, they now have a new one, wearing my shirt. If you're still here after all these scary stories, be careful. They know you've heard them. Like, share, and subscribe before that voice comes to your room tonight.